Hello everybody and welcome back to On the Rise with the latest Canadian men's national team news from today. And today was a huge day for Canadian football, as it was wild and arguably one of the most exciting days of this transfer window for, of course, our Canadians abroad and even some of our Canadians playing in the CPL. It's been a very exciting day, and even seeing two Canadians take to the pitch in Jayden Nelson and Tajon Buchannan, who both took to the field in Europa League conference qualifiers, and both players did come away with victories for their clubs, and even seeing a goal contribution from one of those wingers. It was a massive day with even some transfer news around a CPL Canadian youngsters, a possible new dual national, and a Canadian who was trialing with a Bundesliga side, and JD could be making a transfer. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to dissect and break down, as you guys can tell from that exciting intro. And we're going to start off first with breaking down the games from today before we get into all the transfer news and gossip from today, because my God, there was a lot to talk about from today. We're going to start with the matches, and we're going to break down my favorite one of the day, and it was Jayden Nelson. I am extremely high on Jayden Nelson, and I think ever since he left TFC, he's been brilliant for Rosenborg. He's looked so exciting. Even with TFC, I thought he was a fantastic player and one of those young Canadians who needed to make that move abroad. And today, he got the start for his side, Rosenborg, his Norwegian side, in a Europa Conference League qualifier, in a huge match for Rosenborg against Hearts, where they were at home, and they managed to take a 2-1 victory over Hearts at home, which saw Jayden Nelson score the winning goal, the second goal in the match for Rosenborg. It was a huge game for him, going 74 minutes, and he scored a very good goal. You can see the goal, it's up on Twitter, it's available to go watch, and it was a very exciting goal from Jayden Nelson, running the length of the pitch, getting in the right position. If you go see the goal, you might say, well, he was just in the right position at the right time. But as a winger, as an attacking-minded player, you have to be in the right position. You have to know where to be. You have to know where the ball is going to fall. And seeing where Jayden Nelson is taking up positions now, yes, he is a right winger, he's a left winger, he's very adaptable to play on both sides. But the fact that he found himself in the right position at the right time is huge. You can say that's just luck or whatever, but having the knowledge where to be on the field at the right time, at that right moment, to be able to be there, to put that ball away, it's huge. It's showing he has that attacking instinct to be able to be in the right spot to put away the goal and to know where the ball is going to be. And that's showing his level of intelligence, his footballing ability, and his footballing IQ. Because Jayden Nelson has gone up levels, in my opinion, since joining Rosenborg. And what he managed to do today, running the length of the pitch, of course he didn't carry the ball up the pitch. You'll see it if you go watch that goal. He got up the pitch and he gave off a run to be able to be open for the pass, and then his attacker shot the ball, led to the rebound, which led Jayden Nelson to finish the dinner. It was a very great play by Jayden Nelson. Like I say, that footballing IQ, just to know where to be on the pitch at the right time, especially as an attacker, is such a great trait to have. Just knowing where to be, it is huge. And the fact that he got another goal, it's another goal under his belt in Europe in a big competition for Rosenborg over Hearts, is massive. And it was a very even match, of course, between Rosenborg and Hearts. In my opinion, I thought it was a very exciting match. And Jayden Nelson, of course, is a Canadian who I think is going to break through this year and who a lot of Canadians need to keep their eye on. But that was one Canadian who was in action. We had another Canadian in action as well, and Tajon Buchannan. Didn't have a goal, didn't have an assist, but went the full 90, starting for Club Brugge in their 5-1 victory. That is right, guys. 5 goals for Club Brugge in their victory over K.A. Akriri. Probably butchered how to say that. It was in the Europa Conference League qualifier. They're a club that is very small, and Club Brugge were, of course, expected to put them away at home. Club Brugge did just that, 5-1, and you can expect them to move on. This was a huge game from Tajon Buchanan's Club Brugge, a 5-1 victory. It basically guarantees them to move on to the next round. Yes, it's not an away victory, but it is another victory in the right direction for this very exciting Club Brugge side, who are doing great things. You go back and watch that game against Westerlo on the weekend. Tajon Buchannan looked very good. I watched it again last night. It was a very exciting match from Club Brugge, going back and forth with a very interesting Westerlo side. And they continued that form here. 5-1 victory in a Europa League qualifier. Yes, they may have been a smaller side, but playing in Europe, you got to win your games. No matter your opponent, no matter where you're playing. That's a great game for Club Brugge. 5-1 victory. Tajon Buchannan was involved, and they move on. Very exciting. 2 great games for Canadians today, getting their wins at home for their respective clubs in very big Europa Conference League qualifiers. And the fact that they can keep pushing, getting starts, especially in Europe. Yes, you can say, oh, it's only the Conference League, but the more Canadians we have playing in Europe competitions, European competitions, whether it's a Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, they're still on show. And the fact that Jayden Nelson can sneak into the Conference League of Rosenborg, who knows, maybe they could find themselves in a group against a Premier League side, maybe against the likes of Aston Villa. I'm pretty sure Aston Villa was the side from Premier League that landed themselves in the Conference League. So if Jayden Nelson gets into the group with Aston Villa, that is huge. Just to get to show yourself against a Premier League side, against some of the best players in world football, and just look at how good Aston Villa is going to be this season. I got them top 6 this year, top 7, and what they're going to be able to achieve. And if Jayden Nelson's side, Rosenborg, sneaks into the group stage and lands a big side in that group, it's only going to be huge for Jayden Nelson. We don't talk about the fact that these players could play against bigger sides in the Premier League, the Europa, from Serie A, in the Europa League, in the Champions League. That doesn't get talked about enough in Canada. Like if Davies going against Liverpool, Barcelona, that is huge. It's absolutely humongous. And when you see like Stefan Eustáquio of FC Porto killing it in the Champions League, and he's getting talked about in the world's biggest stage, you get sides like in the Premier League, you're seeing, oh, he can cut it against Premier League sides. Oh, he can cut it against Serie A sides. Maybe we should have a bit more of a look at him. Maybe we could pick him up. Or smaller Serie A sides within that league, mid-table sides are looking at him, well, we could go pick him up. If he's good against Napoli, Juve, Liverpool, why isn't he good enough for us? And that's a huge thing we never talk about in Canada. And Jayden Nelson, if his Rosenborg side can slip into a big group with a big side and he can prove himself, that could be huge for his transfer speculation and his footballing career moving forward. Tajon Buchannan, Europa Conference League, we already know what Tajon's got. Everyone knows what Tajon's got. That's why he's being linked to Burnley and all these big Serie A clubs. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But that is massive for Jayden Nelson, and hopefully his Rosenborg side can get the job done away at Hearts and continue their brilliant run so far. But that was both the players who have played today, but we have so much more to talk about. And I want to move on to the big news of the day. I know everyone could say the big news of the day is the Harry Kane debacle and the transfer story and speculation going on around Harry Kane switching and moving to Bayern Munich, with Tottenham earlier on today being reported through Fab that they reached an agreement. That could be the biggest news for a lot of Canadians. That really could be. With Jonathan David, of course, eyed as the replacement. But for me, that's not nearly the biggest news of the day, because I still think Harry Kane's going to stay. And if he does, so well, great for JD. But the biggest news for me today is Patrice Bernier breaking some massive news earlier today against Woobens Pacius. This was huge. Of course, the Forge FC star, the youngster Canadian, Woobens Pacius, has attracted interest from European clubs abroad. As Patrice Bernier earlier on today went out and tweeted this, Woobens Pacius, who still has European suitors, and he goes on to say Austria, Bulgaria, France, and Portugal, he is now on the radar of a few MLS teams. Pacius 4 goals in 10 starts so far in the CPL with Forge. It will be interesting to follow the next step in his career by this summer or next season. So, Patrice Bernier has dropped a huge Canada transfer bomb, and I absolutely love it, and I am here for it. We can talk about JD, we can talk about everyone else, but I'm here for Woobens Pacius. I'm here for these CPL young Canadians who are ready to make this European jump. Whether it's Poku, whether it's Sean Young, this is Woobens Pacius' time, and this is very interesting. As he goes on to say there are European suitors: Austria, Bulgaria, France, Portugal. For me, it really depends on the division, whether it's the first division or the second division. With France, I can see it being a Ligue 2 side, but if it is a Ligue 2 side, it depends on the side. If it's Bordeaux, if it's Saint-Etienne, I would absolutely love it. Two humongous teams within French football who have drastically dropped off, but have always produced some young talent and some great players. Or whether it's a Ligue 1 team, I'm sure it's going to be a lower down or a mid-table side, or even a higher up side that might even want to bring them to the academy and loan them out. You never know. But if it's a Ligue 2 side, which I do expect as the French Ligue, if not, my God, sign them up to a Ligue 1 side. I am here for it. But if it's a Ligue 2 side, if it's not one of the big names, I would really pass on it. Because I can see Pacius easily getting into a first division from Austria or Portugal. And this is huge, because we already see Austria. I'm just moving Bulgaria to the side. I don't want to look at Bulgaria. I don't want to talk about Bulgaria. We have a huge league in Austria and Portugal where I think he should be going. And MLS, we'll talk about that in a second, because there's another thing I want to talk about with the MLS and Woobens Pacius. Austria and Portugal. I believe these are Liga NOS and Austrian First Division clubs. You look at Austrian First Division, we got a Canadian there already who's placed a great name for other Canadians than Scott Kennedy, who's been doing great stuff with Wolfsburger AC. And honestly, if Woobens Pacius went and joined Wolfsburger AC, sign me up. I am here for it all day, every single day of the week. He is with another Canadian. He's with Scott Kennedy. He's playing in a first division. And he's getting to play a side in Red Bull Salzburg and SK Sturm Graz multiple times a season with some massive players and some players that get to play in the Champions League. Look at Salzburg and some of the players they're producing. Woobens Pacius getting to play them even twice a season, getting to play SK Sturm Graz twice a season. I am here for it. I would love to see him join up with Scott Kennedy at Wolfsburger AC, even if he went to the team that Scott Kennedy played this past weekend in Austria, Klagenfurt. I would be here for it as well. As long as Woobens Pacius is going to a Liga NOS, a first division side in Portugal, or Austrian first division side, sign me up. I'm absolutely here for it. Even France, Liga, great. It's better than the CPL. It's better than the MLS. I am absolutely in love with this transfer, and this is extremely exciting for Woobens Pacius, a young, hungry Canadian striker. The other day, we were just talking about the likes of Jonathan David, Kyle Larin, Theo Bair. There's so many Canadians, and even the likes of Ike Ogbo, who just slaughtered away a penalty to win the game for Cardiff City. There's so many Canadian strikers out there now who I'm going, look at him. He's having a breakthrough season. He's doing very good. But wait. We have Woobens Pacius, another young, talented Canadian striker who is very hungry and is ready to set his European career on fire. And like Patrice Bernier says, which I love about this tweet, everyone's looking at what league he might go at, who's interested in him. I'm staring at that end part. It would be very interesting to follow his next step in his career by this summer or next season. That is huge. That's really leading on that Patrice Bernier has a little instinct, inkling that something's going to be happening here, that there might be a transfer before the August window closes, that he might be moving next summer, that something's going to happen. And we know something's going to happen. Patrice Bernier knows something's going to happen. It's just when. So it's very exciting to see as well. And he also notes that there is now MLS squads and teams on the radar. And I am very intrigued into this, because there is another post I saved that I really wanted to talk about from this earlier today. Because after that went out from Patrice Bernier, the Northern Tribune posted out an article that I thought was very interesting. I didn't read into it. I haven't read it yet. But I want to dive into the title of this article, because I find a lot of people in the Canadian fan base, in the Canadian realm, have mixed opinions on the MLS. And myself, I rate the MLS to a certain extent, but any player who can get themselves in Europe is always going to be a better player than when they stay in the MLS. It's just how it works. It's always how it's been in the world of football, and it's very interesting. I love the Northern Tribune, but this is what they had to say on their title and what they had to say on Twitter. They started out with the tweet of, with interest in Europe still strong, a few clubs closer to home are eyeing Forge FC striker Woobens Pacius. But then the title of the article goes to read, Pacius picks up MLS interest. Okay, I understand that. I get that they're keying on the MLS interest, the fact that MLS teams could be interested in them. It could be a Canadian team, it could be whoever, I really don't care. But the fact that Northern Tribune isn't saying Portuguese, French sides are interested in Woobens Pacius, it's mind-blowing. Why aren't we focusing on the fact that we have a young, talented Canadian who is attracting interest from possibly Ligue 1 sides or Liga NOS sides, and we're focusing on the fact that MLS clubs are interested in him? My goodness, what are we doing here? I love the Northern Tribune. I love the articles. It goes on to credit Patrice Bernier's tweet for the article. And I'm not slagging off Northern Tribune at all. I don't want to give any slander to them. But I just don't understand why they went and had to focus on the MLS aspect of this. It really is mind-blowing. Like, wait. We have Ligue 1 clubs interested in him. We have Liga NOS clubs interested in him. Why don't you focus on the fact we have a young Canadian striker from the CPL that could possibly be linked to, I don't know, FC Porto with Steph Eustáquio. They could be linked to Marseille for all I know. It says French, it says Portuguese. That's just throwing out big clubs out there. But why do we have to hound in on the fact that MLS clubs have picked up interest? I just wanted to talk about that for a quick second. It really confused me when I saw that article get posted after. I haven't read the article. It could be completely different. But seeing that title, it just really mind-blown me. Like, let's focus on the fact he has interest in Europe. Because Canadians, Americans, it's always more exciting when our players are in Europe, when they're playing the best leagues, when they're playing against the best players, a chance to get in the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. So let's look at that. Let's look at the big key things. But I'm not going to dwell on that too much longer, guys. We're going to swiftly move on to what could have been the biggest news of the day for a lot of Canadians. And that was, of course, the Harry Kane debacle. It all kicked off about 14 hours ago from Fabrizio Romano. We all know he's the god of transfers. He is the Don. When it all kicked off, as Fab tweeted this morning, Bayern and Tottenham have reached an agreement in principle for Harry Kane, worth more than 100 million package. And that came from Fabrizio Romano, who reported it via David Ornstein. It's now up to the player. Kane has to make a final decision very soon after long negotiations. And that was first broke this morning, saying that both clubs have, of course, come to agreements. They finally came to agreements on that fee. And the reason that the Harry Kane debacle is so intriguing, it's so interesting as a Canadian perspective, that's the possible and only suitor, in my opinion, as a Canadian fan, as a content creator who follows this team so in depth, that he could fit in. David has made his awareness that and let everyone know publicly that he desperately wants a Premier League move. He's always wanted that Premier League move. He's made it aware in the public, in interviews, and it's just quite obvious now that Jonathan David wants that Premier League move. And the only club is Tottenham Hotspur. So that is why this Harry Kane situation is so interesting and is so really intriguing for Canadian fans. And I personally never thought he would go to Bayern, and it is now looking closer. After that tweet from Fabrizio Romano 14 hours ago, 9 hours ago, Sky Sports Premier League went on to say, breaking, Sky Sports News has been told it's increasingly likely Harry Kane will stay at Tottenham Hotspur. So that was 9 hours ago, coming straight from Sky Sports itself, coming right from the English press, the English media. And then 2 hours ago, more broke, as it went on from another outlet saying Harry Kane's move to Bayern Munich is now looking more likely. Today has been a whirlwind around Harry Kane saga in Canadian football, like I said, guys, and this is going to be a huge video. But it then goes on to say he wants to join. It's on the verge of being complete. And you get a twist here, you get a turn here, you get that every couple of days. You don't get agreement reached, unlikely to join, wants to join, and then one hour ago from the man himself, Fabrizio Romano, said this: Harry Kane has been given permission to travel, complete medical test ahead of Bayern move. Bayern are increasingly confident to get the Harry Kane deal done on Friday. So they believe they can get this deal done tomorrow over the line. And now that's 100 million euros in the Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy's pocket. And those fans are not going to sit there and say, oh, we're fine with Richarlison. We are going to let Richarlison ride it. We're not going to complain at all with a player who had one Premier League goal all last season. And that is where Jonathan David comes into play. Jonathan David has been linked to Al Hilal. He's been linked to PSG and Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur is the club for Jonathan David, and it is going to come down to make or break for Harry Kane. So it's going to really depend on tomorrow. It looks like tomorrow the medicals are set, the medical tests are in place. As a Manchester United fan at heart, you guys can see behind me, I got a calendar and a jersey. I don't want Harry Kane to go to Bayern Munich. I want him to go to Manchester United, or let him stay there and ride out that contract and then join us on a free. But I'm a Canadian men's national team fan and content creator at heart. So I want him to leave. I want him to leave now because this is Jonathan David's time. I know a lot of people have been saying Jonathan David's not ready for a Premier League, questioning if Tottenham's really the right club for Jonathan David. And from my perspective, I don't see a better suited club for Jonathan David in the Premier League. I mean, you could say Arsenal, you could say City, Liverpool, with the chances they create. But if Harry Kane leaves, Ange Postecoglou is going to walk into this Tottenham side with a clean slate. He is going to be a fresh man. He is going to be loving life, and he is going to be enjoying his time at Tottenham. Yes, he might come under harsh criticism at times, but yes, he has come into this preseason using Harry Kane, and everything's going to completely change. But then I think he's going to get a free ride throughout the season, unless he absolutely tanks it and sees his side fall down into mid-table. They're not scoring, they're not creating, and it's boring style football. That's the only way I see Ange Postecoglou under pressure here. Yes, it hurts to see Harry Kane leave Tottenham for Ange Postecoglou when he's come into the season and really trialed with Harry Kane in preseason, but for me, there's no better side for Jonathan David to end up. Look at Ange Postecoglou's side. Young, going to be very young for the most part. Of course, look at the back line changing and some midfield moves, and it's going to be very exciting. The way Ange Postecoglou loves to play football, it's an attacking, free-flowing, energetic, pressing, fun style of football. Everyone knows, everyone is expecting this Ange Postecoglou side in Spurs to finish 7th, 8th, 9th even. But the fact that everyone's expecting this side to go out and score 3, 4 goals a game, and even if that lose 4-3, 3-3, 3-2, have those high-scoring games, that's what this Ange Postecoglou side is going to be about. And you got players like Jayden playing alongside Heung-min Son, who I don't think is going to have another season like last year. Dejan Kulusevski, Richarlison, James Maddison, who I think can make a great partnership with Jonathan David, is going to be huge. And JD can drop off, create for, like you saw Harry Kane do for Tottenham. JD can do that as well. JD can come off the number 9 position, drop out as a false 9, and create with his passing ability for the legs of Heung-min Son, for the legs of Richarlison, James Maddison link up 1-2, or go out wide and see Tajon Kulusevski. That is a huge portion of why I think JD will seamlessly fit into this Tottenham project, even when Ange Postecoglou's warm up to the season with Harry Kane. JD can do that Harry Kane role pretty easily, in my opinion. We've seen him do it with Canada. We've seen him do it with Los Lille. So it's going to be very exciting to see. But this is huge. This JD deal and his transfer for this summer comes down to Tottenham Hotspur, Harry Kane, and Bayern Munich tomorrow. As Fabrizio says, of course it could change. The window's not over. Manchester United could swing in. Chelsea could swing in for all we know with Todd Bowley's money. It's a very interesting situation, but it all comes down to tomorrow for Canamante's Jonathan David's make or break time for that Premier League move. But guys, you might think that's it. You might think after Jonathan David, what else is there to talk about after a player is playing? Woobens Pacius' transfer. Oh, don't worry, there is still so much more. And before we move on to 2 young Canadians, actually, we're going to talk about 1 young Canadian first. And there was a brilliant find on Twitter earlier today from my main man, Canamante Bible. A huge shout out to him. He found a Canamante dual national, a brand new dual national, in the legs of a center forward in a Juventus striker, a 16-year-old, in Marcel Babishkov. This is huge. This is very exciting. I don't know much about him. I'm not going to harp on about him because I'm going to be bare honest with you guys. I just learned about him a couple hours ago. Marcel Babishkov, a center forward who is 16 years of age, who is a Bulgarian-Canadian dual national for Juventus. I've never heard of him. This is a brand new dual national to me. And even in the comments, Canamante Bible had someone respond saying, good find, looks like he lived in Toronto for 5+ years. And that is huge. It's another exciting Canamante dual national, but this is a player that where if we had youth camps, he would be involved. We would need him right now. He would be playing for us in youth camps. So this is a very exciting find from Canamante Bible, another possible dual national who I'm definitely going to be asking Northern Football Podcast and Alexander Gonga-Ruzik about this man himself, and it's going to be very interesting to find out more about Marcel Babishkov, who is a 16-year-old dual national Canadian and Bulgarian at Juventus. But we're not done there with youngsters, guys. Don't worry, this is going to be a long video. These daily videos are going to be probably starting to be anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes or longer, as we have another Canadian youngster in the Centennial College defender in Joe Maktar, who is now training with a Bundesliga side in FC Köln in Germany. As you guys know, of course, in Germany. And he is one to watch in 2023 and beyond. I'm going to be honest again. Joe Maktar from Centennial College, defender. This was tweeted 3 hours ago from Daniel Ayak on Twitter. I don't know really anything about Joe Maktar, a defender coming out of college. Not really my realm, but it's very interesting to see another Canadian getting a shot on trial. And the fact he's getting a trial at a Bundesliga club, at FC Köln, is huge. Of course, we do have an assistant coach, a former Canamante man, in Kevin McKenna, which I'd love to see him start to use that position more to bring over more Canadians. But it is still a great find and a great youngster in the likes of Joe Maktar to go from Centennial College to FC Köln in the Bundesliga on a trial stint. And guys, there is only one more piece of news I want to talk about, and it's not around a Canadian per se, but it does involve a Canadian, and I find this very exciting. It is RCD Mallorca's Cyle Larin side. It wasn't involved with Cyle Larin, but it was a huge signing for RCD Mallorca, who are closing in on the deal of €8 million deal to sign Spanish midfielder in Sergi Dardar from Espanyol. Fabrizio Romano tweeted this morning saying, understand Mallorca are closing in on €8 million deal to sign Spanish midfielder Sergi Dardar from Espanyol. Deal in place and set to be sealed. You might think, why is this so huge for Cyle Larin? But this is a huge improvement to the squad of RCD Mallorca. If they can get this deal over the line, it is massive. They lack a bit of creativity in the squad after losing Kangan Lee. Yes, you still got players like Njai. You still got Mariki. Some great players, some exciting players around Larin. But this squad is only going to continue to get better. And adding a player like Sergei Dardar, who is of course, a well-trained, a legend really for Espanyol, being there since the age of 23 in La Liga, having a season in the Segunda Division in the second tier of Spanish football. It is a huge addition. You might ask where this guy plays. Well, last season he scored 6 goals and 3 assists. Season previous, 3 goals, 9 assists. Previous to that, 6 goals, 3 assists. You're thinking, oh, this guy's a winger, this guy's a number 10, this guy's a false 9. No, this guy's a box-to-box midfielder for Espanyol. Sergei Dardar plays as a 6, a box-to-box, a creative midfielder. And creative is the definition of Sergei Dardar. 38 matches, 38 stars, 3,320 minutes, and getting 6 goals and 3 assists last season. What a return. And if you can bag him for 8 million, this is a huge signing from Mallorca, who also brought in a 22-year-old defensive midfielder and from Almeria and loaned out Adrisu Baba back to Almeria. So it's been a huge day for RCD Mallorca, Larin's side, and it's been a very exciting day in the world of Canadian men's national team football. It has been very huge, very fun, and I'm absolutely loving these daily breakdown videos. I'm happy you guys are enjoying it as well. Keep letting me know in the comments what you guys think of the new daily uploads, breaking down everything involving Canada soccer throughout the day. There's so much to talk about, and we're breaking down it every single day, daily, as you guys can see on the channel, from games to transfer rumors to news involving our players' teams and everything around Canadian men's national team. I hope you guys are enjoying the series on the channel. I guess it's not really a series anymore. It is what my channel is becoming, and it's very exciting. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I know it's been a longer style video, but that's what some of them are going to be from now on. Huge transfer rumors, so much news around our national team. They're going to be a longer style video, and I hope you guys are enjoying them. Let me know what you guys think down below. Hit the like button and let me know what you guys think on the news as well, because there was so much to break down. Hit the sub button, drop a like, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.